Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't something that gives me joy or, pleasure. I'm not happy about this, and it's not something that I want. Unfortunately, Bitcoin is going to get to 10,000 or below. Cryptocurrencies, most of them are going to be worthless, and the stock market that I predicted, the stock market crash I predicted is happening. Go read in the Federalist below in the pinned comment, published in October of 2021. I stated that we're heading towards a stock market crash because of the policies of the Democratic Party, primarily. And I was right. The Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P, all down big, unfortunately. Not something that I want. I don't want people to lose money. I'm giving my thoughts out there because I've been right about the market crashing. We're seeing that. Unfortunately, I believe I'll be right about Bitcoin getting to 10,000 or a lot below 10,000. Let me just read you this, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a CNBC article a couple hours ago. Investors withdraw $7 billion from Tether, raising fresh fears about stablecoins backing. Okay, May 17th. I'm not making any of this up, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand, in addition to inflation at 8 to 9%, in addition to contracting GDP, in addition to a recession that we're basically in addition to supply chain issues, the debt market implosion, interest rates going up a lot more than we originally thought, because one political party pushed to push $10 trillion, pumped $10 trillion into the economy through fiscal and monetary stimulus, because they ended economic activity 2 years ago to save you and to benefit your life. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But the thing is, I wrote about all of this in the Federalist below in the pinned comment. We are experiencing a Pandora's box, the repercussions of opening up a Pandora's box of economic catastrophe 2 years ago. You can't end economic activity. It's never happened before. You can't shut down, you can't prevent people from working and then claim to be moral because you want an eviction moratorium after you've prevented people from paying their rent. Now things are infinitely worse. And here, Tether's circulating supply has slipped from about 83 billion a week ago to less than 76 billion on Tuesday, according to CoinGecko. The so-called stablecoin slipped below its intended $1 peg Thursday amid panic over the collapse of rival token terraUSD. So the situation is once again placed the subject of the reserves behind Tether under the spotlight. The reserves that people think are not there. Okay, cash equivalents are not cash. And furthermore, they kept finding out that the reserves are less and less lower than they originally thought, much lower. But anyway, investors have withdrawn more than $7 billion from Tether since it briefly dropped from its dollar peg, raising fresh questions about the reserves underpinning the world's largest stablecoin. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Please share this segment everywhere. I know these segments don't get any views on this channel. We're almost at 200,000 subs. They don't get any views. My viewers generally, my subs generally aren't really interested. This is a political issue also. It's not just a crypto or stock market or finance issue. This is a political issue. We can get to that later on in this segment. But I just want to read you. People are going to lose their money because the moral hazard created by one political party caused all of this. There might have been a bubble eventually in crypto, but the bubble was it got larger and larger and larger and larger because Democrats, media, unelected officials, bureaucrats, the experts, quote unquote, decided to tank the economy and then replicate economic activity by pumping so much money into the economy through fiscal and monetary stimulus that these bubbles, Tesla at $1,000+ doesn't make any sense. We're seeing still record highs in the Dow. The Dow is still overvalued by you're talking about it going way below 30,000 to 25,000. The Nasdaq's going to continue to descend and collapse. I predicted all of this. Forget about, I'm not clairvoyant, I'm not Nostradamus. I haven't been right about everything, but even the things I'm wrong about, I have the pulse of what's going on. I said Clinton would lose to Trump. Nobody believed me. I said that there was going to be a market collapse. Very few people believed me. And now very few people believe me that Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000 or lower. Theoretically, it could get to zero. Or many people say it's likely, or some people, I shouldn't say, certain people say it's likely it gets to zero. I don't think it's going to get to zero. I think that eventually it'll get below 10,000 and maybe go back up, likely go back up. The long term, I don't think it's not going to, I think it'll be around, but it'll get below 10,000. And I'll keep reading you this. So hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below. If you want to become a member of this channel, please go ahead. We have a great community. We have amazing live streams. I'll have a live stream very likely tomorrow evening or tonight when you watch this on this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. And also, let's see, if you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. The best thing you could do, ladies and gentlemen, is just share this segment with anyone who thinks that I'm nuts pertaining to Bitcoin. But the so-called stablecoin is meant to always be worth $1, but on Thursday, its price slipped as low as 95 cents. So, amid panic over the collapse of a rival token, terraUSD, most stablecoins are backed by fiat reserves. The idea being they have enough collateral in case users decide to withdraw their funds. But a new breed of algorithmic stablecoins like terraUSD or UST attempt to base their dollar peg on code. That's been put to the test lately as investors have soured on cryptocurrencies. So you're not going to be able to survive as a currency if you're backed by a code or even by a blockchain, really, but that's another story. Previously, Tether claimed all its tokens were backed by a one-to-one by dollars stored in a bank. It wasn't true. That was a lie. However, after a settlement with the New York Attorney General, the company revealed it relied only on a range of other assets, including commercial paper, a form of short-term unsecured debt issued by companies to support its token. Commercial paper can descend to zero. So what does that mean? That's not cash equivalents. Not really. The situation has once again placed the subject of the reserves behind Tether under the spotlight. When Tether last disclosed its reserve breakdown, cash made up around $4.2 billion of its assets. The vast majority, $34.5 billion, consisted of unidentified treasury bills with a maturity of less than 3 months, while $24.2 billion of its holdings was in commercial paper. These attestations produced by Tether each quarter are signed off by MHA, a Cayman Island-based firm, which has only 3 employees, according to its LinkedIn profile. Okay, Tether has faced repeated calls for, this is public record knowledge, CNBC. Tether has faced repeated calls for a full audit of its reserves. In July 2021, the company told CNBC it would produce one in a matter of months. It still has not done so. And so, look, I mean, it's like Tether was not immediately available for comment when contacted by CNBC for this article. Responding to a Twitter user who urged Tether to release a full audit, the company's chief technology officer insisted its tokens, quote, was fully backed and had redeemed $7 billion in the past 48 hours. We can keep going if the market wants. We have all the liquidity to handle big redemptions and pay all one-to-one, he said. So even if that's possible, that doesn't mean it won't go to zero anyway. But again, you have to understand, from a macroeconomic perspective, from a bird's eye view, what is the point of this? What is the point of cryptocurrencies? To replace fiat currency. Do you think it's replacing fiat currency? Do you think that governments, they say decentralized, but the regulations are, it's getting more regulated every month, every year. Furthermore, the volatility is not, the volatility, when you look at the debt market and you look at interest rates going up, you look at inflation continuing to stay high, I mean, the interest rates going up barely made a dent on inflation, and the geopolitical crisis in Europe, if it continues for months and months to come, there's no end in sight, it seems. And Democrats certainly, it seems, don't want an end in sight. What do you think is going to happen? With food shortages, there's a debt bubble in China. There's a debt bubble here. We have bond markets collapsing. Interest, like I said, inflation through the roof. There's a recession, contracting GDP. What happens when people get laid off? The price of Bitcoin is related to optimism. We have only pessimism now, and unfortunately, things are going to get worse. You still have 14 states and oil and gas associations suing President Mashed Potato Brands and his administration. So it's not like commodity prices are going to get any lower. They're going to go higher. Everything is going to be more expensive with growth subsiding or dwindling, stagflation. So hit subscribe to this channel. I mean, I understand my viewers aren't really interested in this, but this is going to happen, unfortunately. Tell your friends and share this segment. Again, I don't care if Bitcoin goes up to 50,000 or 60,000 again. It'll go back down to below 10,000. And, it could easily get to 3,000 to 4,000. You might think I'm nuts. Share this segment with everyone who might think I'm nuts. Hit subscribe. And I have a segment on the Stock Market Crash channel right now. Go to the Stock Market Crash channel right now. Do I want any of this to happen?